What's happening, guys? AnyForty live stream number 5. So far, we've been all over the world. We've been to Philly, we've been to Miami, we've been to Melbourne. Now we're keeping it local. Newcastle. We're heading to chat to our guy Ryan Quickfall, aka Roadkill. So let's get this chat on, man. Yep. Yes. How you doing, mate?
You alright?
Yeah, man. How's sunny Roland Scale treating you?
Yeah, it's good. It's pretty hot.
Mate, it's glorious, isn't it? Look at this, man. My dog walking tan has gone like, what is he called? David Dickens.
Real deal.
Ronseal Ronnie.
Real deal.
The real deal. Mate, thank you for giving up an hour of your Tuesday evening.
Not doing anything else.
Yeah, did you not have anything planned? You weren't going to go to the cinema?
I just rushed my tea down like 2 minutes ago and then jumped up here. So yeah, no, I'm alright, ready to go.
Classic, man. So we'll give it oh no, we've got the numbers in already. The numbers are creeping in.
Cool.
So yeah, man, do you want to, we'll just kick off and we'll just tell people a little bit about yourself if they're not aware. This was obviously for the people on the AnyForty channel. But yeah, man, go ahead, tell them a little bit about the man called Roadkill.
Well, yeah, you know, like I live just outside of Newcastle. Freelance illustrator / artist, trying to split my time up between the two. And like maybe the AnyForty fans might not know us as well as like people in the motorcycle world, because like that's pretty much where all my work is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's me.
So how long have you been professionally illustrating since?
I get asked this all the time, and there's not like a definitive time where I started, I don't think. I mean, full time, I think about 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah.
Like as my like main income.
Yeah.
And then before that, you know how things happen. You just like dabble in it and like realize it works, and then you know it builds up until you get to a point where you think, all right, well, I can dive in with both feet and give it a go.
Yeah. Because when did you realize that you were good enough to probably do it for a living? Was there that moment in time, or did it just happen?
I don't know if I'm good enough at the minute. Well, I certainly wasn't good enough when I started. I definitely wasn't. But I sort of just landed on it.
Yeah.
I've always drawn like all my life since I was a kid. And there's been like periods in my life where I've made a little bit of money out of it, like in one way or another, like selling t-shirts and whatever, you know, like years ago. But then, yeah, like you just, I don't know. Where I started getting work really, and that's what pushed me into doing the motorcycle thing, is I've always had a passion for motorbikes. I've always ridden motorbikes. But there was like a motorbike magazine, like a nice little independent magazine called Sideburn.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, you've got a connection with Sideburn because Gary, the editor, yeah, I used to work with him, right?
That's it. Yeah, very, very like vaguely. Probably that was my first professional job, I guess, in the design game. That was 2001. That was went down to Peterborough. Worked for Max Power magazine, the boy racing magazine, for a year, and Gary was doing, I think he was doing revs at the time, or he was doing freelance writing for Max Power, but he was around, and I was obviously just straight out of college in those days. So we probably won't even remember us, but I remember his name, and then when you were talking about doing work for Cyber magazine, then it all just connected. But that's an awesome magazine, man. It's great to see that in Build magazine as well. Those guys still going strong. Kind of small, like independently magazines, but from bigger publishers almost. Is that right with Sideburn as well, or are they
not for Sideburn? It's completely independent.
Oh, amazing.
But yeah, Built is part of like the Bauer Media
the
Group,
Bauer machine,
which is like a big company. But yeah, so I started. Gary sort of picked my work up like years back, and asked me to be in a book that he was collating artists for, like artists in the motorcycle world, or like artwork that was based around motorcycles or whatever that link was, and it sort of took off from there. So
that's it, because it seems to have been. I don't know off the top of my head how long that I've been aware of your work. I don't know if I knew of it when I lived in London. I'm sure I did. I was trying to think when we first got a chance to work together was probably...
That was after you came back from London, definitely.
Yeah. So I think that was like probably 2015 was when we first started doing stuff together.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I was trying to think when I would have first become aware of your work, and I think it's just the same as majority of people that I know, and it was just through Instagram. I think you would have been making loads of noise, and then stumble on this guy's work, and it's like, fuck, this guy's work's sick. Like, I'm not into... If anyone's listened to some of these chats earlier, I'd say I'm probably on the opposite end of the scale of the person that buys your work in general, be it people that are mad for motorbikes, people that are into kind of the punk rock music and that whole like anti-hero. But there's no denying, man, I'm obsessed with your work. Like, I love it all, from the crazy little stickers to the mad little characters. And like, I'm not into motorbikes. I've never been on a motorbike in my life, but I appreciate it. And the characters, it's all, that's something that really floats my boat, is the character design of things. And like, you've got that nailed as well, haven't you?
Oh, cheers, man. Yeah, well, like that's a something that I want to try and like pursue a bit further, because I've always been passionate about doing that sort of like character stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got sort of tied into doing like commercial illustration a little bit, and then I became quite conscious that like I was going down a very narrow path of just doing motorcycle orientated stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas like you say, that's exactly what I was aiming for with those little characters. Like, they have a nod to motorcycle culture, but you don't have to be into it to appreciate it. And I think that's quite hard to get, especially when you're like being pigeonholed in one direction and spread your wings in another way. But yeah, I'm trying to,
because I guess you've got a core audience who love that stuff from you, so you're always going to want to feed them crumbs, I guess. But you do want to keep growing and keep expanding, which is what I love about a lot of the recent stuff you've been doing. It's like almost, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like corny, like the corny devils, like you'd see in like an American touring carnival, and you might have devil's head. It's on the back of my computer, like that on the side of like a touring truck and that, and that sort of stuff. Plus, it's all part of the same sort of world, isn't it? But just slightly different.
It's all just a bit like, I mean, if you cut my head down and like split me, I had like a tiny brain, it would probably be pretty fucked up. But yeah, I just like weird, like punk rock characters and like just oddballs, basically.
Yeah.
So
Do you think you were talking about when you were at the start, you perhaps didn't think your work was good enough, but it's definitely it's progressed a lot over the last few years. Can you see like a clear moment in time when you've learned certain things or learned different, I don't know, like techniques or different software that you're working in that's helped push it further forward?
I think like I use the same software now as I always have, which is like the core like digital software that I use is Photoshop. Yeah. Because for what I do, that's like perfect. And basically, like, I can see a point where originally I was going too far down the digital route, and I was losing that handmade feel to some of the work. So I've really consciously like stepped back from that like a few years, maybe 3 years ago, and try to split it up 50-50. So like some of my work, if it needs to be produced really quick, I'll just produce it digitally completely. On like the Wacom tablet and stuff, and just start to finish, produce it in Photoshop. But then the other 50%, I try and do by hand, you know, like hand ink the artwork, then scan that, and then digitally color it.
Nice. And that's what you've done for that the COVID Queen that we've got in pre-order, isn't
exactly, it? Yeah. That's it. So that started as just like a quick sketch, and then I inked that out by hand, and then scanned it, and then turned it into what we finally did with it. Yeah. But I mean, like, key turning points is definitely like that, you know, splitting it up from being digital and hand produced.
Yeah.
And secondly, like, people always say it was now like, well, you're producing the work much faster. Because I think it took us ages to produce work when it first started. But now, like, yeah, I've probably like doubled my pace.
Yeah, this is just the thing. It's practice, isn't it? It's the more you do it, obviously, the better you get at doing stuff. Like a mutual friend of ours, like Ash. Like I remember in the early days when he was starting to build windows and that, was taking him days and days, wasn't it? Like when he did Naomi's Who's It and What's It. But now, like, he's a machine just because he's had years and years of practicing, like crafting your skill.
Yeah. What is it? 10,000 hours.
That's it. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I was going to say there's a good hip hop song by Evidence from Dilated People's called 10,000 Hours, all about crafting your skills in that. So you're talking about you do like 50% of your work, you'd say, on the computer. There's especially if people go and look at your site, there's a lot of like original paintings on there. And if you've scrolled through your Instagram, you've got mad stuff where you've been painting like oil cans and car bonnets and things like that. Is there much of a difference in like process when you're doing, let's just say, painting a car bonnet as opposed to designing a t-shirt for a brand like Harley Davidson or a little brand like AnyForty?
Well, like in terms of putting the actual artwork down, it is because you have to use like obviously like paints and stuff. So like if you paint on a car bonnet, you probably need like an enamel paint to work on, and probably I'd use like spray paint and stuff as well.
Aye.
So like in terms of that, like, yeah, they're totally different. Like oil cans, like I'd mask it off and spray it, lay the artwork on. And
so was that all stuff that you knew how to do stuff you learned along the way as well?
Mate, like I didn't know anything. Like everything's DIY for me. Like if I don't know how to do something, I just do it until I know how to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't really get taught anything. I get asked about when I went to college and stuff and got my degree, and like I didn't learn anything. I learned nothing. Like everything I've learned, I've just done myself by just like making mistakes.
Mate, that's the beauty. I think it's underrated a lot of what you learn actually when you've got a job or when you're doing work that you want to do, opposed to going to college. Because I'm the same. I did art and I did a like I can't remember what it was called now, HND or whatever in graphic design. But I don't feel like I learned anything until I started working properly. Like when you go from a college project where you've got a month to lay out like 2 magazine spreads, and then you get your first job and they're like, right, well, you need to do 3 magazine spreads today. It's like,
exactly.
You need to learn quickly.
And you sort of learn like that a lot of it's not just producing the work, it's like working with people and like just like managing your time around other people and like working under other people and stuff.
Yeah. So going back to stuff like painting car bonnets and things like that, obviously if you're working on something digitally or you're drawing it, you can just throw the paper away, start again, or erase a few steps back. What's it like when you're working on stuff like car bonnets? Do you ever get to the point where it's like, right, I've finished this, I'm super happy with it, or it would have been great to have been able to like not do that and change it? Are you ever happy with what you do? Or
I mean, you can always change things. It just depends how many steps back you gotta go.
Aye.
Like I've got a car bonnet sat in the studio at the minute, which has been there for like 2 years because I fucked up a piece of work on it and I just never got around to sorting it out. Really just means like stripping back off and then starting again. So you do like some things where like you have a vision and it might not go quite right, or you start like messing about.
Yeah.
And then you just end up in this complete wrong direction that you should never have taken in the first place. But I think like that's another thing that I've learned is like get the like maybe experiment before you do the finished product.
Aye.
You know, like maybe experiment in your sketchbook or whatever, or on a smaller scale, like on paper or whatever, and work out your process and have your process nailed.
Yeah.
Before you move into final stuff. And I think that's why my work's sped up as well, because my process is sort of nailed now.
Yeah. That's a great bit of advice, man, because it's often, you can get carried away, can't you, with excitement, especially if you've got something exciting like a car bonnet to paint on.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, talking about different things you do, like we'll know about the digital stuff. Like if you go on your website, people can buy like stickers, prints, tees, like whatever you would need motorcycle related art, like you're smashing it. And you've gotten into stuff like the painting on the bonnets and things like that. You also started delving into the world of murals as well, relatively, I say recently, but it's probably the last few years, was it?
Yeah, last couple of years, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
like, yeah, I've done a couple, not as many as I want to do. Like I want to be doing them all the time, but
yeah,
the opportunities aren't really. They're a lot harder to find.
Yeah.
You know, like it's pretty hard to get wall space sometimes.
Well, that's it. We've pitched for a few with clients as well.
Exactly.
It's a tricky game to navigate, to actually get in that wall, find someone that's prepared to pay.
Well, that's it.
Money for it as well.
And I've been pretty lucky that I've done 2 like small ones that have been like quite cool like lately, and they were like good practice, and like they came out really good. Like AnyForty Brewery.
Yeah.
AnyForty. Like so, I did a couple there. So that's cool. And there was another one that they wanted doing, and then I think
was that before or after you did the can designs for them?
That was after. So it was basically putting the artwork of the can designs, like the characters, like on the wall.
Yeah. Ah, sick.
So yeah, we did the cans and then the walls.
Awesome. So that was did you say you've done 2 murals for those guys now?
Yeah, I mean they're just smaller ones, but they're just like spot characters, you know. Like it's not like a full wall piece. It's just like a character on a wall. But yeah, they were dead good to do. And then like,
you obviously did the legendary like the prime wall space in Shoreditch, didn't you?
Yeah, I've done that twice. I've done it twice. that was good, but like the first time was awesome. Like it was so intimidating, and I didn't really like I didn't know what I was doing whatsoever.
Aye.
Thank God I had the right people to talk us through it. And yeah, like I lashed that up. Ran out of stuff halfway through. Got the wrong paint. Realised I should have just sprayed the whole thing in rather than like touching in with a brush. And like because it's like such a central location, and there's all those art tours walking around in the summer. Like I'd be painting away, and just in my own world, just painting this massive wall, and then like people would just stop all the time and talk to you.
Aye.
And then this guy just walked past and he said, "Oh, don't turn around." And I turned around, there was about like I don't know, over 100 people just stood watching me paint this wall. I was like, "Oh God." Mate, but they didn't know I didn't know what I was doing.
Mate, that's the thing, isn't it? Like especially in Shoreditch, like there's just artwork everywhere. That's the one thing I miss about living down there. Like obviously I was lucky enough to live there for 3 years, but you could go walking like every couple of weeks and there would be new stuff. Like it's an incredible place to have your work in a prominent space like that, and it's somewhere that's not being like bombed or anything, has it? No one's like painted over it or tagged over it.
What, the piece that I did?
Aye.
Yeah, it's not there now because like they got someone else to go over, and like because they were rotating it, but I did that first wall on that street because I was doing a show in the bike shop who have the wall.
Yeah.
So they looked after it, and if it did get tagged up, they just came out and just touched it up every night. So like, they were just touching it up for us, but like, and it was there for like 5 or 6 months, I think.
Yeah, I remember the few times back. I saw it.
Aye.
So talking about that shop that you did the work for, like if people don't know, it's owned by like the legendary artist D-Face, isn't it? How did the artist from Newcastle get into into the D-Face game? How did that happen?
Just motorbikes.
Motorbikes.
Yeah, just totally motorbike stuff. Like, because he's like a big motorbiker as well, you know, like he just lives bikes as well. So he started this really, really good little bike shop. Well, it's sort of they build custom bikes in the shop, and then they like have a little coffee shop in there, and then like a clothing like area.
Yeah.
It's it's a tiny little shop. It's so mint because like it's, I don't know, it just reminds us of what I think bike shops probably were like in like the 70s. Like they're just like revving bikes up inside, working on the bikes, and like people are just going and getting a coffee. It's mint. So yeah, so I went down to that shop before I knew D, like a few years back, and I went in and he was in there, and I left. I put a photo on Instagram saying, "Oh, I'll go visit this shop," and then he sent me a message, said, "Oh, will you come back?" And I guess he'd just seen my work through like Sideburn or I don't know, Instagram, whatever, and he said, "Would you put a show on in here?" And then Then that's what I did. Yeah, put a show on in the shop, and then.
And this was when you were still. This is when you were in London, just after you visited the store.
Yeah, well, yeah. So like, it took maybe a few months to organise, and then I went down a few months later with a bunch of work, and did the wall on the lead up to the show. Yeah, so it was cool. Mint.
Amazing, yeah, because he's like up at echelon, isn't he? Of English artists, really.
Well, yeah, like him and his guys that he's got working with him, like I think they quickly, you know, I wasn't pulling the wool over their eyes. They knew I hadn't got a clue what I was doing, and so I was in the middle of it, and they were like just standing there, like taking rattle cans off us, and they were just like knocking bits in and stuff like, look, do it like this and do this. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna just stand here and learn now because like not many people probably get that opportunity to learn from them.
Nah, I can't imagine a tiny percentage of people that would artists in London that would ever get that chance. Yeah. That's incredible. And then from there, you went on to have you had work recently in the Stolen Space gallery, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a couple of pieces in there, which sort of, I think my work sort of really lent itself to that show as well. So that was all about, it was called Fine Line, I think was the show, and it was all like the initial stages of artwork. So before it goes to that, you know, final piece on canvas or printed media or whatever, it's all like those initial mark making processes. And to be honest, like that, I always say this in my work, like I prefer my work before it goes to like the final stage of being coloured up and stuff. I just like the black and white line work.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I put in, you know, just like black hand inked artworks. So yeah.
That's very much like the stuff that we can see behind there, like that mad
like this sort of stuff. Yeah, exactly.
So what's the sort of percentage, like your normal working week? Obviously you do a lot of personal stuff where you sell prints and that yourself, and obviously the client work might be affected a little bit at the moment with this this coronavirus. But before that came around, what was your working week looking like in terms of split between personal and client stuff?
Just like not enough time to do my own stuff. Because I don't know, like when you're freelance, you can't. It's so hard to like turn work down.
Yeah.
And to do more of my work, I need this really big like period of time where I've got to stop doing client work.
Yeah.
But in the back of your head, all the time, you're thinking, "Fucking hell, like, I've got to pay bills like every month," and so then I always say yes to projects, and then at the end of the month, I'm like, oh, like I haven't done any of my own work, and I'm just not putting enough out there.
Yeah.
It's really stressful, but I mean, it's a good problem to have. But
yeah, definitely.
It's gonna take one of those like career-defining like plans to sort of sort
like,
it out.
It's hard to turn stuff down, but it's so do you think like during this pandemic you might get a bit more time to work on personal stuff?
I hope so. I think that's like, if there's going to be one good thing comes out of it for me, at least if not other artists, you know, like there's time to like work on new projects or like do something that you haven't really done before, have the opportunity to, and like, yeah, just,
I think that's,
but I'm going to try and put as much down as I can, really.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to, I know it's obviously like it's scary times and stuff, but I think it's a good time for people to step away from, like, if their work has dried up or whatever, and just refocus on what it is that you love doing, and what you want to do more of, whether that's in terms of working or in terms of, I don't know, like running or cycling or building motorbikes, whatever it is, and come out of this with like positive things. Like, I'm personally using this as a way of kind of spending more time back on the AnyForty stuff like this, like getting a chance to speak to you guys. Like, when you've got lots of client work on, you're constantly getting chased on emails and Skype calls. It's hard to fit stuff in. So I think that's going to be one positive, if there is anything that can come out of people being horribly poorly. But that's it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what sort of stuff you come out with then over the next month or so, mate.
Well, it'll be more of the same, I know that, but like, yeah, I mean, it'll be more original stuff. So, yeah, I just need like time to just get on with it, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks it'll slow down a little bit more so I can get onto it.
Yeah.
But you're totally right. Like, everyone just needs to take this as a massive opportunity that you just never get to, like, maybe reset or like rethink what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just do more or work out. You know, maybe like take a step back even when it's finished, because I need to do that. I need to take a step back from client work and do more of my own stuff, and I know that's going to push us further on.
Yeah.
So,
we spoke briefly about the fact that you've worked for things like I never know how to say their brand before, but so you've got, like, is it Deus,
yeah.
And you've done stuff for like Harley Davidson and people like that. Is there any brands that aren't in that kind of motorcycle world that you'd love to work for?
That I'd love to work for. Probably some skateboard brands, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or something, or some maybe like, I definitely, or like, I mean, I've done some work with bands and stuff, but maybe there's some like bands that will be really good, or like guitar manufacturers or something, like just, you know, like Fender or something.
Yeah, mate, that would be sick.
That would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I can see that.
Or like a car manufacturer, I don't know, like just something where like it's just totally different to apply your artwork to.
Mate, that would be incredible.
Aye, it would be good, wouldn't it?
What was I going to say? I have these things like where I've got them in list of things I want to ask in my head, and then sometimes they just evaporate once we start talking. Well, let's open it up a bit. We've still got half an hour left, if that's all right with you. But let's see if anyone's got any questions just before me, before I can get my train of thought back. I know a few people are saying, hey, they need subtitles for listening to us talk. So, like, tuned into like a bootleg Ant and Deck. Who's Deck?
Exactly, I don't know.
Right, let's have a look. So how are you finding being at home with them? Because obviously you work from home all the time. You're good ladies. Are Petland still open, like, in terms of the cook stuff?
No, they had to shut. Just because they were having like supply issues and stuff. They couldn't get hold of flour and stuff like that. And like the market where they are is like shut only essential businesses are open. So like the butchers and the veg stores and stuff. So fruit and veg places, but they're not really essentials. And they probably could push it and be open, but I just don't think there's any point at the moment.
Nah.
Yeah.
Here's a good question from Mel's.
Yeah,
I think Mel's is like he's a regular on these podcasts. Well, they're not a podcast. I don't know what the fuck they are. They're like chit chats on there. Yeah. So Mel's is asking for anyone that's not reading this. So how about animating your work? It would definitely look amazing. Have you ever? We're talking about your characters. Have you ever had anyone animate any of them?
I haven't, but sometimes when I do projects for clients, like, they'll like take the artwork and then animate it as like a secondary sort of thing, you know, like.
Aye.
And then I always look at it and think, oh, like, that is mint. Like, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
and like my animation skills are like -1. They're just like sub-zero, like crap. And that is something that I've got like a wall behind us, like loads of targets that I want to do. Like one of them is animate me illustrations. So that is something that I want to try and get done.
So that's something you might be able to use a little bit of time on if stuff gets a bit quieter.
Exactly, like case in point, like I could use this time to like work out how to animate things a little bit better. Because it's got so many different like uses, even just like I can't remember who it is on Instagram, but like I just see that like he's like basically every post he puts up is just an animation like of his illustration now, even if it's just really subtle little things like the flame might just be flickering, but they're just going so like really really well. And
mate, that's it. Like, I'm more impressed by the little subtle animations where you almost don't notice it, and then you see things like, you can imagine this geezer of yours.
Exactly.
Even if his hand was just like clenching, like he was on a throttle or whatever.
Yeah, or just like driven from his mouth to like around or whatever. Exactly, like, and that's really simple to do. Like, it doesn't detract from it being just an illustration, does it?
Nah.
You know, you just have little things like that, and they're on Instagram. It's just another level, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's it. Like we've talked about previously, but all your characters on that, they're amazing. This is a question for me. I'm jumping in front of the queue. But have you ever done anything like a comic book? Have you ever thought about doing anything like that? Creating little characters?
I keep getting asked like if I would do stuff like that. And like again, it's just time. Like, but yeah, well, I would love to do that if there was like, if I could set aside enough time, or like a client came to us with a project to do one. But
yeah,
I don't think that really happens.
Nah. Well, let's leave that with me for the rest of the year. That'll be my mission. I'll try and find a client that we can do
definitely
a comic book for.
Yeah, mint.
Right. So Naomi's asked a question. Hello, Naomi. We've kind of spoke about this earlier, but she's in awe of your inking skills. How long have you been honing those skills, would you say?
Oh, so I mean, years and years and years, but mainly in the last like 3 or 4, like I was saying, like I try to push doing stuff by hand a lot more.
Yeah.
And just loads of like the people that I used to really look up to, they all like hand ink everything, and like all comic books and stuff is all like hand inked, and I mean, there's like, to me, there's no better way of like putting a mark on paper than just like, well, I'll sketch something out and then put it on the light box, and then and then putting that black ink down with like a nice brush. It's just like, it's mint. Especially when you get the flow right, and like, it's like I'm realizing it's a bit more in depth than like just like splodging it down. You know, like you gotta like have your ink at the right consistency and stuff.
Okay.
It's a bit like you know, when Ash paints windows and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when you're using like a paint that you need to thin down.
Like
you don't want your ink too thin, but some people like take the lids off and leave them for 24 hours so the ink thickens up a little bit.
Yeah.
But you don't want it too thick so that it drags on the paper. There's like this consistency that you want.
And just learning as you go on as well.
I guess so, yeah. And like sort of dipping your brush and then rolling it on I have like a piece of paper set to the side. I don't know if I've got one anywhere, but I have a piece of paper on the side of what I'm working on. Yeah. And then every time I dip the brush in the ink, I sort of roll it on there. So you're rolling the nib to like a sharp point, so you're ready to like. It's just stuff like that. Like you just sort of learn as you go along.
Nice, man. So for anyone that's out there and they're kind of inking their artwork as well, have you got is there a particular brush that you found works better than others, or
well, there's like 2 things that I use, and like one's 2 seconds, I'll find it. One is not here. There it is. I just use like, if I'm just doing something like if I'm not like say I'm out and about whatever and I want to ink something, or I just want to be a bit spontaneous, like I use one of these, like a Pentel brush pen.
Oh yeah.
Just like that. They're pretty good. And you just put like the cartridges in, So you just load the cartridge in, and they're pretty effective. You can get a real nice variation in line weight and stuff. But that's me like a brush like that. It's just a watercolor brush.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a sable brush.
Nice.
Where are we at?
Yes, seen them.
But yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Brilliant. I'll tell you what, mate. That's sick, and I'm sure if anyone's got any further questions about inking, they could always drop you a DM.
Yeah. Getting too technical.
Yeah. So we're gonna go into bikes now, man.
Into bikes.
Yeah.
I've had enough. I've had enough of bikes.
We've been bike chat off. Well, we've got our buddy had to give Crohn's a slap from me. He asks you, what bike or bikes do you own? This is going to be like a 2-hour conversation, isn't it?
I'll keep it short. So at the moment, I've only got, which I haven't used in like over a year. I've got like a race bike, which is like a flat track or dirt track race bike.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Speedway, but it's like more Americanized, sort of version of Speedway, and you don't ride exactly the same. But in the UK, we use like the same tracks, so it's an oval track.
Yeah, I've seen you traveling before to place to race.
Mm-hmm. So I've got my race bike that my mate Mike Hill at Survivor Customs. He built that for us a few years ago, and I just haven't used it enough actually. And this season, the races of the first 2 rounds have been cancelled this season, I think, just because of what's going on. So I probably won't even get to use it that much this year. So I've got that. And then I've got like a trail bike for like off-road riding and stuff. Sat in the garage, which is a WR250. And I don't have a bike, like a road bike at the moment.
Because I remember I saw you actually on the road, didn't I? Was that last year?
Yeah, I don't know.
You and Tom.
Oh, right. That was me and Tom. Yeah, you pulled up behind me.
And I only recognised because there was like a sticker on the back of your helmet thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking Ryan.
Well, that's one of the rare occasions like to get out in this country on a bike, like on the road.
Aye.
Because I don't really have a bike for the road that much, but sometimes you get people who like that happened because Triumph loaned Tom a bike, like, and we both went out like riding. So
I must admit, like I've never ridden a motorbike and never been too bothered. But when I saw you on that, and I think it was like a nice summer evening, and you'd been out like to the like coast to coast almost. You've been like
we've been right over the Lake District and up Kirkstone Pass over the top, which was just like mint. And it was like a really nice day. There was no one about. Went down the other side and I came all the way back. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah,
it looks beautiful. Like I do, tend to do a lot of hiking, and we go out to some remote places, and you're always seeing like people blatting back on past on the bikes and stuff, and it does look like a fun thing to do on a Sunday.
It is great, like, but you know, like I hate to be like, you know, I'm not gonna be like bikes are dangerous because you know it's as dangerous as you want to make it, but like, yeah. They do nasty things to you as well.
Oh, what's the deal with that then?
Well, I had a crash like about it was 15 years ago now actually, and I nearly lost my arm with that one.
Right.
But yeah, and then I got straight back on the bike because like when you're in the bikes, you don't really let things put you off like that. You know, you just get back on. But
yeah. Do you know what? Like talking about accidents and getting straight back onto things. Actually, if people are looking for something to watch on Netflix or Amazon Prime, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but there's something new on streaming services now, which is about a female surfer. I think she's about 60 and she gets her arm bitten off by a great white shark, and then she thinks that's her whole career like ruined, and she goes back and she becomes a professional surfer with one arm. Incredible, man. Like super motivational. But she has to go back to getting in the sea and then learning how to surf again, how to pull herself up on the board with one arm.
Yeah, really.
I'll find out what it is and I'll put comment up or whatever. I'll send you.
Yeah, let us know. I'll have a look.
So let's see if anyone else have got any questions they want to ask Ryan about his work, about his bikes, about his life, whatever, man. So we're seeing. I think you've got someone here that's desperate for you to do some work for them.
Yeah.
Gantz Designs. He's commented he or she's commented quite a few times.
All right, cool.
Hello to those guys. Yeah, so let's talk about. That's what I was going to ask you about.
Right.
Guy Martin.
Oh yeah.
You do loads of stuff for him, don't you?
Yeah, I have done in the past. Yeah, like loads of stuff.
Like calendars
and like t-shirts and yeah, just like loads of mad stuff. Like I mean, his calendar's the biggest job that I do, and like that's always just like these absolute crackpot briefs for like literally the weirdest briefs you'll ever get.
Really?
These illustrations, and you just think, what, where does this come from? But there's always like some story behind them, like in his head or experiences that he's had. Yeah, like they're pretty wild if you ever get to see one of them. Yeah, he releases them sort of like every year, around October. So
mint. Have you had a chance to meet him in person yet?
Met him a few times, yeah. You are?
Cuckoo is a coconut.
Yeah, he's a nice bloke. Like he's nice. He's I mean, if people think like me and you are hard to understand our accents,
yeah.
try to like talk to him, like it takes a few times to like realize what he's saying. But especially when like the first time I met him, he was trying to give us briefs.
Right.
He was like trying to brief me like these illustration jobs, and I was just like, mate, I don't know where to start. But I know he's all right.
Right. So someone's mentioned here that film I was talking about is called Soul Surfer. Right. Loses her arm surfing, so definitely check that out.
I'll write it down, yeah.
Right. Let's see if anyone else has got any more chit chat. I've accidentally drunk too much coffee today, so I thought I was going to black out there.
Don't black out. I don't know what to say.
I know. Just in case I just disappear.
I just have to start singing songs or something.
Oh mate, how are you finding actually? So we've known each other for quite a bit now, and I used to love popping into your studio in Newcastle. Mm-hmm. You were sharing it at the time with Ash and Tom. It was always wicked, wasn't it? Popping in and taking Maggie the dog in, taking my dog in. How are you finding having like based at home fully?
It's all right. Like I've got a pretty good space to work in, and I've got like a garage as well, so like I can do like a bit more painting and stuff in the garage once I've sorted it out a little bit anyway. But yeah, I mean, I loved the studio when we had it, and it was like a big change to come back from the studio because I've pretty much always been in the studio space since I've been like full time.
Oh wow!
So
also you've never really worked from home before this, like.
I mean, I work from home even when I had the studio, because like I'd come home and then I'd work at night.
Aye.
Or I'd work on a weekend or whatever. So I am used to working at home. The only difference is like not being around people, and like I really like appreciate like being in the studio with Tom and Ash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was mint, but I mean, me and Tom had been looking for somewhere else, and then the day that I was going to put the notice in on the studio, with the other studio we're moving into fell through. So, it's not like that I'm going to work here forever and like I'm writing off having a studio. We'll probably will get another studio space somewhere. It's just finding the right one, and like definitely at the moment is not the right time.
Mate, well that's everything kind of happens for a reason. I'm not saying you leaving your studio caused the coronavirus. It might have done, but it's it's just good not to have any costs like that hanging over your head, isn't it? When it's a bit uncertain.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I think everyone's been a bit shy today, man, with the questions.
Chris must have a question.
Sorry?
Chris must have a question.
Yes, hello. Give him a few minutes. So, we talked before about some of your client jobs. We're talking about the Deface, the Rebels Alliance, which is an awesome brand, awesome store. Obviously they'll be shut at the moment, but you've done a lot of t-shirts for those guys as well, haven't you? Have you done actual?
Yeah, for Rebels Alliance and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a pretty good working relationship with them now, and like I always say this, like that when you were saying like how I met with D-Face, like, and it was all through motorbikes. Like I'd say 95% of the people that I've worked for that I know have come from because I ride a motorbike.
That's mad, isn't it?
It's so weird. Like it's such a tight community. It is with like all these different communities, you know. But yeah, like just motorbikes just has this thing. I don't know. Like people just connect with each other really tightly. Yeah, it's mad. Especially in London, it's a massive like emerging scene in London. You know, like it has been for years.
Yeah, and you wouldn't really expect that in London, would you? Because it's not the easiest city to commute around. I guess that's the beauty of a.
Well, that's the beauty of a motorbike, isn't it? Yeah, like I think it's always like that. Yeah.
Sick. Well, talking about like your motorbike journeys and just stuff that I've seen online, you've been quite lucky to go overseas quite a lot, haven't you, on bikes?
Yeah. Like I'm pretty like definitely one of the advantages of like working with these companies is like you can sort of, if you play your cards right, you can sort of call bikes in and stuff. You know, when you go over like to California or whatever, like, and that's awesome because you just know that you can get over there and have like a bike to just ride around.
Aye.
Especially in LA, because like the traffic over there is just mental.
Is that where
so, like having a bike to just cut through, and like it's totally legal there to like cut through traffic. It's mint.
Is it?
Yeah, like you'd just be like sat for like literally like half an hour, and the traffic's like solid, totally solid cars, and you just cut the whole way for like just the whole trip. Like it's just mad.
You seem you seem to be a big fan of America. You got married in America, didn't you?
We did, yeah. Well, I mean, it's been good to me. I know it's not good to a lot of people, but it's just fascinating for me.
Aye.
Like absolutely fascinating. It's just bizarre.
So obviously you're from Newcastle and you're based in Newcastle. If you had to move to a different city, where would it be? Where would you like to move to if you had to? If you had the opportunity in the cash flow to live wherever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd say LA, but I don't know. I think life's pretty tough there if you don't get it right.
Yeah.
But then I do know people who've moved there and like they absolutely love it.
Cool.
And it's really like blowing their careers up.
Oh.
But I don't know what other city. Do you know like maybe not like on a motorcycle based decision, but like.
Oh, sorry, mate. You froze there.
Oh, on my back.
Yeah, you got it.
Back. I was just stood still. No. I don't know what city. I think Edinburgh's pretty cool.
Yeah, Edinburgh's a beautiful city, man.
I mean, there's loads of nice European cities. Like Barcelona's pretty amazing.
Yeah, mate, you need to come to once the world gets unlocked again. You should come to Off, man.
Yeah, I will do.
It's incredible. That's one of the creative highlights of my year, going there and just soaking in like 3 days of just inspiration from people that you know of, people that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Videos, animators, the lot. It's awesome.
Yeah, that must be amazing to like get that collection of people in one place.
Yeah,
especially man. In a city like Barcelona when the weather's good.
Mate, definitely. Well, we've got a couple of questions here. We've got James Signal Noise is asking a question through the power of telepathy through Naomi. What sort of stuff did you draw when you were a kid?
Oh, it was always cars and airplanes and bikes.
Nice.
Mainly airplanes, I think, because like anyone that knows this knows I'm an absolute freak for like probably more so for planes than bikes.
Man,
freak.
What, you've never done an illustration as a professional to do with airplanes?
No, don't think so.
What?
No. No.
Mate, next
No,
AnyForty
I'd
we'll
like
do.
to, for sure. I'd like to. I haven't drawn a plane in a very long time, mind.
Oh mate, it brought like a little flashback to when I was a kid. Then I used to love I had books of the like the World War bombers and stuff. You know, where it had the girls painted on the side.
Yeah, like the nose art
faces and stuff.
Yeah, man, like all that stuff's amazing. Like, Walt Disney did a load of that. You know, like in the Second World War.
Yeah.
Like for the American bomber crews and stuff. You should check it out. Like the illustrations are amazing.
Oh, I'll check that out after this, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like, I don't know why, but I got loads of books of like just side profiles of planes and stuff.
Oh mate, like yeah, dig them out and let us know the name of them, because like I'm a sucker for books. I've got like a load behind this in front of us that I never look at, so I may as well put another one in the mix.
Exactly. I mean, I got loads that I don't even look at anymore, but yeah. But yeah, like all those, like even just like down to the different types of camouflage and stuff. Like as a designer, like if you start checking that stuff out, it's like some of the like patterns and stuff are amazing.
Oh, awesome!
Especially the Japanese stuff, like modern Japanese, like Air Force, like markers and stuff are amazing. Like you wouldn't even believe some of the stuff that they've got on their.
Mate, that's a whole new avenue of inspiration for people to explore. So talking about inspiration, like obviously you're inspired by the kind of the subculture you're in with the punk and the motorbikes and stuff. In terms of art and illustration, like who's really inspiring you at the moment?
I mean, top of the list, who's always inspired us for like 20 years or so, or longer, like 25 years, something like that. It has to be like Coop. You know Coop? No? Does all that like... Who?
I don't think I do. Coop?
No,
what, C-O-O-P?
Yeah, C-O-O-P, Coop. Like, his work's just... Like, his brushwork is just, like, insane. And, yeah, like, his work's just amazing. It's, like, total, like, counterculture, like, hot rods and, devil girls and stuff. Like, he like, did those, like, all those devil girls. Like, I think that was pretty much his concept. And, like, technically his work's amazing for me. But, like, just visually, it's just, like, it's just mint. Like,
incredible,
the content of it's just awesome. Yeah, he's like the king to me. Like, in fact, there's a Coop.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen that. I've seen the style. I just I honestly don't recognize the name.
Yeah, he's like legend.
Crazy.
But then there's like, like Jamie Hewlett and that, you know, and like contemporary people like Macbeth, you know, Macbeth. I love what he does. Like my work doesn't look like that, but you know, like he's still a big influence with like his type of characters and stuff. I think like in other interviews that I've done and stuff, people have asked like what artists are like inspiration and stuff, and like mainly like it might not be because like my style like is inspired by them, but it's that some of the artists that I always name just make you realize that you can make a career out of just holding strong on your style and content. You know, so it may not be that I'm looking at them to replicate what they're doing, but like they paint these like surreal like illustrations, and like it makes you think, well, do you know what? If they can do absolute oddball shit, then I can make a living doing whatever I want to do.
And that's what Macbeth's stuff is. It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's mad.
Into the Dude's Factory stuff, and like they had at one point, I don't know if it's still there, but they opened like a restaurant, like a burger spot in Berlin.
Oh yeah.
Artwork around like meat, like pig's feet chopped in half, and like pork chops, and like fucking bonkers.
Yeah, it is bonkers. But then I think like if you want to like really put your stamp on something, you've got to just got to hold strong in what you want to do, and like be a little bit bonkers. If you want to be bonkers, then just hold strong in it and be bonkers, and like then you'll be satisfied that you're doing what you want to do, and secondly, if you just hold out on it, like it will succeed, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a message from chatting to a few guys previously as well. If you do the work that you love doing, people will spot it and they'll want work done similar. Especially when you start dabbling around in the world of like big agencies and ad campaigns and stuff. Those guys just tend to look around and they'll see a piece of artwork like, I like that. Let's pitch an idea similar to that, but in that style. And that's where stuff comes from, man. So we're talking about your inspiration. So obviously you've been killing it for a while now. You're going to be inspiring a lot of people. Are you noticing any, like, are people jacking your style a little bit?
I've seen it quite a bit. Not. I mean, you know, I can't say that I'm jacking my style, because what is my style? I don't know. Like, you know, maybe my style looks like something else that I've seen like years ago. I don't know. So I can't say that. You know, I can't pull people up for like having a style that looks like mine. That's not fair. But lately, there's been a few people who've actually just taken my work and just placed it on something else.
What?
Like, that's happened quite a bit. I know.
Them, man.
And then there's people like who, I mean, they're not going to get anywhere by doing that.
Aye.
They're not going to learn anything or motivate themselves or push themselves, like, if they do that. So, like, anyone who is doing that, you should really, like, think about why you're doing it. It's probably because, like, you're lacking some skill set that you really need to achieve, and that's not the way to achieve it, is it?
I can understand, like, because when I first kind of learned Illustrator when I was a bit younger, I was obsessed with 1-2-3 Clan stuff, and I used to try to replicate what they did.
Yeah.
And then that's how I learned how to use Illustrator properly. So there's something with seeing someone's work that you love and appreciate and admire, and then learning how to do stuff in their style, but as like a training exercise, I guess.
Exactly. If it's a training exercise, totally. Like, I think, like, deconstruct it. That's fine. Like, if you see, like, if I look at that deck and then I sort of say, well, how's he done that?
Yeah.
So he's probably sketched that out like 4 or 5 times and refined it till he gets that right. Then he puts it on, like, you know, I don't know, a light box, and then he's going to brush it out a few times. And the line way, it's going to be this here and it's going to be that there. And then he's colored it this way. That's fine. Like, you can deconstruct stuff like that. But
definitely,
it's a different thing to take the face of that character and then put it on your paper and then completely draw over it.
Aye, that's it. Well, I tell you what, mate, this hour's flown by. Yeah, man. I learned a lesson from Mel's first one. We just got cut off, stone cold dead. So we've literally got like a minute or two left. So we'll just open. Nah, I don't think we've even got time for that, mate. So if anyone's basically got any questions that they didn't have time to ask, I'm sure they can hit you up. You all over your social media.
Just give us a shout if there's any questions like that we've missed out in the list. I'll try my best to get through them.
Perfect. Well, Ryan, always a pleasure to chat to you, my friend.
Yeah, and you, man.
And hopefully we'll see you in real life for a beer soon.
I hope so. I don't know when. Soon.
Mate, it'll happen shortly.
Yeah, man.
Wicked, man. We'll have it. A good rest of the evening, mate, and I'll be in touch and chat to you soon. Also, people can pre-order the t-shirt we've done. We're running it till Sunday. We're only making what we've pre-ordered, so if you don't pre-order it, then you're not getting it. Tough titties.
Yeah.
And sick, man.
Cool.
Sick,
see you again.
I'll speak to you soon, mate. Take it easy.
Thanks a lot. See ya.
Right, guys, so that was live chat number 5 done. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. We'll be back on Friday with another artist who will tell you about tomorrow. Peace!